So today I'm here with Nicolas, and Nicolas hopped across the Mediterranean from Tunisia. And, well, you've got reason to celebrate, I believe, because Nicolas has just won a Gold Lion. I think the first one for Tunisia, probably in media the first one for the Arab world. Maybe you can explain the piece of work that actually won.
The whole idea is what we noticed after the revolution is that people had a problem to project themselves in the future. They were arguing about the past, arguing about the present, and everything. They wanted everything now, and the country was collapsing. And the transition government didn't give the right sign to the people to give them hope for the future. And our idea was just to put all the media together and simulate a date 3 years in the future, and imagine Tunisia as a modern, prosperous, democratic country. And it found a huge echo in Tunisia. It was people really engaged in this and proposed. It was a really nice operation.
So it's a big media stunt. So everybody read a newspaper from the future, and I think on TV it will feature it. It's a marvelous piece of work. You need to check it out. But let's move maybe to the topic as such, Tunisia, the Arab world. There's a lot of talk about this being the Facebook revolutions, the Twitter revolutions. On the other hand, people perceive the Arab world as, they're kind of back in the day, they're not progressing, so it doesn't fit together. Twitter revolution in this society that we don't always have a lot of understanding of. What do you feel? What is actually happening, and what's the impact on marketing and communications?
I wouldn't say it's a Twitter and Facebook revolution. It began by a social revolution, because people needed work. They needed to see another future. They were fed up of dictatorship, and it started with the guys from the south of Tunisia who had nothing to lose, and these are the ones who went into the streets and fought against the policemen. The Twitter and Facebook was just a tool that helped spreading the news, what was happening. It was the only place before where you could share content, but freely, because everything was stuck by the government. You had no good newspaper, no good television, no content at all. And the only way to find good content was on the internet. And so people began to play with these social network, and it became like a natural language.
So what is the impact of this revolution, the social revolution, on communication in Northern Africa? Do you have a perspective?
As a creative, I see great opportunities, because now you have the freedom of speech that was completely closed. No one could talk, no one could say anything. Today, you have people are beginning to create their own content. Everything is possible now, and we feel there's this crazy and really positive energy. So I believe it will be very good for creativity. As for the moment. From an economic point of view, it's still difficult, because the country is going backwards. It has to start again.
For 13 years you've worked outside of India as a creative in so many markets I can't remember. And now you are running a film company, your own company in India. So how does what you've seen outside affect what you're doing now, and how does what's going on in India today in creativity?
Okay, where do I start? I think, when I moved back to India, I didn't want to treat India like, I'm coming back home. For me, it was like going back to a new country again, because I've been out for so long. So it was like, like when I left India, it was a totally different country versus when I went back. So for me, like treating India like a new country was the best way I could actually see myself living and adjusting to the the way things work here. So from that point, I didn't have much problem in settling down. India is a huge market, so what I left before, to what I came back, and it's really amazing. I mean, from everything from the kind of budgets that they use, to the kind of briefs that we get, to the kind of scripts we are getting, it is. I think it's very much compared with the West. The budgets have really shot up. I remember that when we would work outside India, and we would like say that, the budgets that we got in India were like so small. But now, we are doing like posts, in the West. Like recently we did a job where we did the entire post at MPC for almost like 2 months in London. So a lot of opportunities. It's a crazy market. It's like I'm just quoting like one of the guys who was saying, like, for example, if you're working for a client, the client generally says that it's such a huge market, like whatever you do is going to sell, right? So it's all about the deadlines. So you get a brief with a deadline, and you don't get a confirmation at least till the last day, but your deadlines will change. So that is something which I'm getting used to, like versus in the West, where you have like 3 months to 4 months to make a commercial. Here you have to do everything like within a month.
What is the big topic in communications in India? Is there anything that's different from the discussion we are having here in Cannes, what everybody is talking about here, conversion of channels and all that? Is there something very different in India that people are talking about, or is it actually the same global conversation?
I think it's mostly the same. It's like, I think everybody wants to do good work. One thing which I've seen in India is like, it's still very much like a TV-centric market. Because there's a huge population and there is a huge channel. I do not see like too much. I'm sure like a lot of creators are going to hate me for that, but I do not see too much like 360 integration. I see a lot of like one-off ads. I see a lot of commercials on TV which are like, they're just done for one particular thing. So from that point, I found India a little different from what I've worked outside. So it's mostly TV-centric. But obviously, it's all about creativity, and it's also becoming very, very localized. So the work, I think there's a lot of influence of Bollywood. You will see like there's a lot of like jingles almost. Everybody likes jingles in the commercial. You just look at an ad, and from a Western perspective, you would say, okay, why do you need anything on top? Just the ambient sound will be good enough. But now they want a jingle. They want somebody singing. But it seems to be working, and I think it is working, and people like it.
What is India adding to the world of communication, of advertising?
Okay, I think that's a real tough one. See, I like just recently, just yesterday I was reading the newspaper, and they were saying like the top companies in India, the top 2 companies are actually now local Indian companies. I think one of them is Tata, and the other is Infosys, and then they have like left behind Googles and all that. So normally you would think that Google would be like the most desired company, but now it is the Indian companies. So I think they have I think the agencies, the clients, and the brand managers, they have understood what is like the pulse of India, and they're really making it work. And in terms of what they are adding to the world, I don't know. I think it's about like how they've used the local knowledge to their success. There is I think like okay, I wouldn't use that the name of a particular client, but there is a sudden burst of a lot of local Indian companies, from mobile phones to like sanitary napkins, and they're all like local Indian companies, and they're really kicking the ass of like the big companies, like overseas companies, and I think they have a lot to learn. Like recently there's an Indian brand which nobody would have heard of, and they're like a detergent brand, and I think they are almost like doing the same like Unilever, and nobody would have heard of, but they have actually targeted the right audience, which they know it's not like it's not the city slickers, but it's like the suburbs, because there's again a huge population. So I think if there's something to learn, we could probably look at those brands and say how they're doing it, and there's something to learn from there.
Looking at Brazil from Germany, I think 10 years ago when I started, we were all very jealous. You were doing these amazing print ads, and we tried to copy it. And now when I look at Brazil, you're not only doing the print ads, you're doing wonderful direct, you're doing amazing work yet again. How do you see the performance of Brazil and creativity, and what inspires you?
So I think it's very interesting that when the business start to change, as a very creativity people and country, we made a very fast adaptation on that. I think the biggest difference is because Brazil was known as like the print guys, you know, specific things. I think now we are becoming more global, more worldwide, you know. So I think that's the biggest change of the Brazilian creativity.
Is it important to you to have a very broad perspective from the world, people from all around the world, a mix of people, of influences? Or would you say, you know what, my business is local, I don't need it? What's your perspective?
My perspective on that, it's like, of course, if you have a local challenge, it's really good when you see the world challenges, you know, because a lot of times you can see how they have their thought lines and make adaptation. I don't think like if it's local, it has to be local. I think local, it's language, you know, but the thought, the way that you have to think, you know, can't be global. It's a macro system, you know. Brazil, it's becoming a macro like all the countries of the world, so that's the way that I see it.
Sometimes I've got the feeling, well, like, as a client, you will end up seeing lots of agencies coming in to present stuff. Do you think clients are, in fact, they know more today than agencies? They have got a better understanding?
To know more, I don't think so, because I think they only will know better together with a partner, with a creative partner. But for me, I think this is the magic moment, you know, when the clients are being interested in creative, not only the part that advertising agents like showing the works, you know, change it completely. So this shows that finally we are becoming just one thing, a strong thing, you know, a partnership very deeply, you know, more together. Now our clients knows better what about creativity, what is creative, what is a big idea, you know. So I think this is wonderful, magic.
Process or end result?
End result.
First mover or early adopter?
First mover.
FaceTime or Facebook?
Facebook.
Cannes in 3 words.
Dream, difficult, and achievement.
I've got another one for you. I won gold. Party or inspiration?
Party.
Culture or structure?
This is a difficult one. I think this is a half-half.
FaceTime or Facebook?
Facebook for now.
Culture or structure?
Culture.
FaceTime or Facebook?
FaceTime.
Process or end result?
Oh my God, end result.
Yesterday or tomorrow or today?
Today and tomorrow, sorry.